Well, thanks everybody for coming here. I especially want to thank the Secretary General and the Ambassador for being here, where we've been given an update on a number of things, including what I think are very promising developments in our cooperation among the NATO members for resupplying not only Ukraine, but modernizing the whole of NATO. I want to express my appreciation for my partner, my Democratic colleague, Jean Shaheen, for all the work that she's done over the years with the Senate NATO Observer Group, and yield to you for questions. Maybe give an update on legislative
That'd be great.
Activity as well.
Well, I will just echo the appreciation to have Mark Rutte, the Secretary General, and Ambassador Whitaker here to give us an update on what's happening with NATO in Europe. I reported to them that we're very excited that in the Senate Foreign Relations Committee this morning we passed out the first 3 bills that address Russia's unprovoked war in Ukraine today. One would declare Russia a state sponsor of terrorism because of their kidnapping of Ukrainian children, and the second would allow us to move forward using the repossessed assets from Russia to support Ukraine in this war, and the third would be to take an effort at China to stop the war effort, their support for the war effort from China. All of those bills passed unanimously out of committee, have strong bipartisan support, and we look forward to getting them to the floor soon so that we can join the Europeans as they look at using the repossessed assets in Ukraine and all join hands and do everything we can to support Ukraine. So, Secretary General, thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for hosting me and Ambassador Whitaker this morning. And I want to thank the senators for their staunch support for NATO. Since President Trump was re-elected, NATO has been renewed, reinvigorated. We decided in The Hague under his leadership to spend 5% on defense, therefore also basically equalizing what the Europeans and Canada are spending on defense with the US. So the Europeans and the Canadians stepping up. Also when it comes to Ukraine, the President deciding to send weapons again to Ukraine, but paid for by allies. We are working very hard on that project. The first couple of billion of weapons already shipped into Ukraine from the US, paid for by allies. And of course Europeans stepping up when it comes to security assurances for Ukraine post a long-term ceasefire or peace deal. But of course we all pray for that to happen soon. I will see the President later today. We will discuss further how we from NATO can be helpful in delivering his vision of getting a full-scale peace in Ukraine, which of course we all pray for after his enormous success in Gaza. So again, thank you so much for hosting us, senators, and thank you for your leadership.
We got time for a couple of questions.
Secretary General, Sky News, can we just ask, is your visit here at this moment not an indication that President Trump's meeting with President Zelensky on Friday was a total disaster?
No, not at all, because this was already planned before. I was texting with the President after an enormous success in Gaza, and we said, hey, let's have a meeting in Washington to discuss how we now can deliver his vision on peace in Ukraine. And when it comes to the meeting last week, Friday, you have also heard President Zelensky. I think that was a good meeting. It was a successful meeting. It's exactly what we need. It's the American President who broke the deadlock with Putin in February, took that leadership role, which only he can, and he is delivering. And I'm really commending him for that. So that was a good meeting, and we will build on that.
Secretary General, can I just ask you, recently Donald Trump suggested that Ukraine could win back all lost territory. Now he's saying something quite different. How worried are you that in that phone call with Vladimir Putin, he persuaded the president to go softer on Russia?
Well, I have total confidence in President Trump. And he is the only one who can get this done. He is the leader of the most powerful nation on earth. You are all citizens of the most powerful nation on earth, the most powerful economy, the most powerful military, and you have a president with a lot of experience because of his first term in office, and who has a clear vision on bringing this war to a durable and lasting end. He wants that. He wants to end the bloodshed. He wants to end the killing. And he knows how important it is. And this is a big deal for him, for all of us. So his leadership here is crucial. He is clearly providing it. And he has to dialogue with all the leaders. He has to dialogue with Putin. He has to dialogue with Zelensky, exactly as he did in Gaza, putting pressure on all relevant parties to get the deal done. And that's exactly what he is doing here.
Mr.
Secretary, right here.
Thank you, Senator. 2 questions for you. The first, to that end, do you believe another meeting between President Trump and Vladimir Putin would be productive? And second, do you think a ceasefire is necessary before real negotiations can start?
Well, let's start with the second question. The president himself was very clear this weekend. Stop where you are, which sounds simple, but of course is also exactly right. So I was I totally agree with him. Stop where you are. That's the main message. And again, we will dialogue this afternoon further, and I'm there to help him to deliver whatever NATO can do. Me personally, the ambassador, all of us can do to help him to deliver on that vision. And clearly, going forward, I cannot now predict exactly what type of meetings in what type of setting will happen. But it will mean a lot of discussions with all the leaders involved, including the presidents of Russia and Ukraine, no doubt.
Should that happen together?
Secretary General, you mentioned the success in Gaza. What do you think can be replicated when it comes to negotiating between Russia and Ukraine? And then to the senators, what do you think is the cost of the delays on sanctions that we've seen so far?
Well, every conflict obviously is different, and at the same time you can draw lessons. And I think what the president did at Gaza, and let's not forget, this is a huge win. And only he was was in a position to do it. And he took the risk, he took the leadership role, and he used the enormous power of the United States and leveraged this with his leadership to get the deal done on Gaza. And I commend him for that. And now he wants to do the same, as he's been doing since February, when he had his first phone call with President Vladimir Putin of Russia. And all the discussions he had with NATO leaders, with, of course, the president of Ukraine. He wants to deliver the same for the war in Ukraine. Again, I cannot now predict exactly by what steps this will all happen. But obviously it will still mean a lot of discussions. It will not end tomorrow. But I'm fairly confident that we can deliver on this vision.
It looks like the summit is on ice now. Do you welcome that delay?
Again, I'm not going to comment on every step in the process because it's very difficult for me to assess exactly how that process will now evolve. But clearly, in the future, there will be many more discussions with the leaders of Ukraine and of Russia in whatever format, in whatever setting, to deliver peace.
Thank you all.
Just on the point of saying one thing that we should be very clear with the Secretary General. We're having discussions about NATO allies putting 5% into meeting 5% standard for NATO support. They're doing things very, very differently, and they're doing things differently because President Trump has pressed the issue. And I believe that President Trump is best positioned to bring a lasting peace to Ukraine. We're going to have discussions about how we can continue to enable him with legislative action on sanctions in particular, which I'm interested in. But I think we also have to follow his lead.
Thank you all very much.
Are you planning to move these bills that you passed as a package?
That hasn't been determined yet.
Okay, thank you.
Like, always like to like